Hi everybody, this is Robert at Scott Leroy Marketing. Today we'll show you how to use the Send Mail As feature in Gmail to use your regular Gmail to send messages from your KW email so that you only have to log into one account. We're essentially going to be connecting your KW email to your regular Gmail so that you can change the From field when you send messages to be either your regular Gmail or your KW email address. There are several things that need to be done in preparation for this. The first one is to, in separate browser windows, get logged into both Gmail accounts. In this window here, I'm logged into my KW email, and then in this window here, I'm logged into a regular Gmail account. So make sure you're logged into both accounts at the same time in separate windows. You may even have to use separate browsers. You may want to use Chrome and Firefox separately. I'm going to dock these on either side of my screen here so we can see both of them at once. Now, the first hurdle to get over in order to connect this here is to make sure that two-step verification is turned off for your KW email. I have it turned on for my KW email, so I'm going to have to go turn that off in order to enable setting up the Send Mail As. So I'll need to come up here and click on where it has my picture. It may have your initials here and the KW logo. Then we'll go to Google Account right here, the big blue button. Once we're on the account page, we'll click on Security. And then on the security page, under signing in to Google, we have two-step verification. It says that it's on. We'll need to click on this to turn off two-step verification. It's going to ask me to verify my password. And then we'll need to click this Turn Off button here. Yes, we want to confirm that we do want to turn off two-step verification. Now that two-step verification is turned off, we're back here on the security page. We'll need to scroll all the way down to the bottom here and we'll look for the Less Secure Apps section. In Less Secure Apps here, we'll need to turn on access. It will be off by default, so you'll need to click on where it says here, Turn On Access. It'll say Not Recommended. That's fine. We need to have this on in order to set up Send Mail As. So you'll click on that. And then you'll turn this switch to on versus off. You'll know it's on once it turns blue instead of gray. Then we'll come back to our actual Gmail page. We're done with the Google account section here. We'll come back to the Gmail inbox, and at the top right, we'll click on our settings gear. The gear always means settings no matter which program you're in. And then we'll click on settings here in the menu that drops down. And let me maximize this so we can see the full screen. Next, we'll need to come over to the Forwarding and Pop IMAP tab here in Settings. Once we're here, we're going to need to turn on Enable Pop for all mail. This is for something different later, but we do have to turn this on when we're using the Send Mail As. We also want to enable IMAP just in case. We want both Pop and IMAP to be enabled, and then we'll scroll down and make sure to click Save here in these Gmail settings. Now we'll be able to switch over to our regular Gmail account, and up again in the top right, we'll click on Settings. Then we'll click on the settings in the menu that drops down. And then we're going to come over here to Accounts and Import. Now in this section, there's a couple of options that you could do. You could go under Check Mail from Other Accounts and add a mail account. You would sign into your KW email here. That would bring over all messages from your KW email to your regular Gmail account here. It wouldn't keep any labels. You'd have to manually put them back into labels once they were moved over. And this would, at the end of that process, ask you whether you wanted to send mail as. So instead, we're going to go up here to Send Mail As by itself. And we're going to click on Add Another Email Address. Now in this box that comes up, we're going to name this KW email, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it KW email. And you'll put in your KW email address. And then we'll click Next Step. Now these settings are going to automatically be filled in, and these should be correct. So all you'll have to do is put in your actual KW email password. And then click Add Account. And then it's going to send an email back to your KW email with a code or a link that you can click on. And you can use either of those methods to verify this. So I'm going to go back over here to my KW email. And here's that Gmail confirmation email, Send Mail As. And in here, it has this code here. So I'm going to copy that and come back over to my other Gmail and paste that into this box here. Then we'll verify. And then now we have an option to set here. When you're replying to a message that comes in, do you always want to reply from this Gmail address? Or do you want to reply from the email address that it was sent to? So if someone sends a message to your KW email, it will always come back from your KW email when you reply. If someone sends a message to your regular Gmail, it'll come back from your regular Gmail when you reply. You can also change the address at the time of your reply. So we're going to leave it as always reply from default address. So now here we've set up send mail as. So I could go to compose here, and this is by default going to come from the default Gmail address here, but you'll notice there's a drop down arrow right here next to that address, and I could have this come from my KW email, and you notice there's a different signature for each email address. So you can actually set that in the general tab here. You would scroll to the bottom here and you would choose which email address you want to set the signature for, so you can have a different one for each email. Now do notice this is only one way. This is only you can send messages from your regular Gmail as your KW email. There are no messages being forwarded from your KW email to your regular Gmail. You would actually need to set that up back in settings under POP. So we're going to go into settings. And then we're going to go to accounts and import here. And we do want to add a mail account if you want to bring those messages over from your KW email to this regular Gmail. You would click on add a mail account. You'd put in your KW email address. And the only option here is to import emails from my other account, POP3. That's why we enabled POP over there in the KW email settings. We'll click on next. And then we'll put in that password here. And then we'll click on add account, and that should be it for this process, and it should start bringing over those messages pretty immediately. I'm actually going to go ahead and remove this account because I don't need to move all those messages over. But now moving forward, any messages sent to the KW email would automatically go into this regular Gmail, and I could reply as my KW email versus the regular Gmail address. If you guys have additional questions about this is actually something we can set up for you fairly easily. Just send us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com. Thank you.